In every story of faith, there's a moment when life feels beyond repair, when the weight of years, pain, and loss becomes too much to carry. For Scott, that moment came about 6 months ago. A heart attack changed everything. His body weakened. His spirit, already fragile, seemed to give way. The strength to fight simply disappeared. Soon after, a letter arrived from the county treasurer. It wasn't just a notice of unpaid taxes. It was a final warning. Their home, the place that held every memory of his family, was about to be lost. But truthfully, Scott had already been losing that home for years. 10 years earlier, his wife, the love of his life, passed away in that house. Since then, Scott hadn't changed a thing in her room. Not one picture, not one folded blanket. Grief had frozen time, and for a decade, he simply existed inside its walls, a prisoner of memory, standing still while life kept moving. Jonah, his son, was only 12 when she died. Now a young man, Jonah had grown up with the residue of pain and grief always tainting his confidence. He didn't have a job, a driver's license, nor any plan for the future. Social anxiety made the world outside feel impossible. So he stayed where it was safe, where his mother's memory lingered, in the home he was about to lose. But as their world began to crumble with bills unpaid, faith uncertain, and a home slipping away, something unexpected began to happen. Their church invited them to join 21 days of prayer. At first, it was just a commitment, a routine. But what started as a church practice soon became a turning point, a move of the Lord working quietly in their lives. This is the story of Jonah and Scott, a father and son, each carrying years of pain, stepping together into a season of prayer. Over 21 days, we watched faith awaken where loss had settled. We saw hearts softened, hope rekindled, and two lives slowly drawn back toward the God who still heals, still restores, and still writes new stories even after years of silence. This is more than a documentary about change. It's a journey of grace, prayer, and renewal. A witness to what happens when the Lord begins to make all things new. All right, today is day 4 of 21 days of prayer with Jonah. We've been going to the church for 4 nights and praying for each other, praying for stuff in the church. And yesterday, when we were talking, you said something to me that I found kind of surprising, because you told me that you and your dad haven't had the best relationship. And your dad called us when we were driving around and we were talking on speakerphone, and money's tight and everything in your house. And your dad said that yesterday he hauled some scrap metal to the scrap yard and he got $37. And your response immediately was, "Good job." And you were seriously affirming, where in my head, my skeptical head, I've been like, man, that's not gonna be enough to pay the mortgage. And you were just positive about that. How do you do that when you and your dad have had so much stress and you continue to be respectful and good to him and affirming?
I think through all the work we go through, whether it's, no matter whose fault it is, no matter how petty it may be, we still have a bond. Like, he's still my father, whether he raised me right or not. He's still my father, and I should respect him. Whether I feel like he treats me with respect or not, like, he still shows me love, and he still he kind of gives me the same kind of support, where it's like, good job, like, you're doing a good job with whatever it is. Like, so he's kind of taught me that, like, to be supportive. So I mean, it just comes naturally.
That's cool. Last night, we told this prayer group that we're going to that we were having these discussions. And the first night we went, I asked everyone to just silently just ask the Lord, why are you here? And we told them your story last night about how you asked the Lord and you said, why am I here? And then tell me how that unfolded.
I'm always very analytical. I always think, like, I always try to dig deep in stuff, and it's to a fault, because, like, it can lead down a very negative path. It's caused me to have anxiety, bad anxiety, and that has led to being diagnosed with panic attacks. So really, if you think about it, it's not been a good thing in my life. You can argue I look at things in, like, good perspectives here and there, but to be honest, it's a curse just as much as it is a gift. Because when I had asked, like, Lord, what do you brought me here? What do you want what do you want me to pray about? What am I here to do? It's just all the time, like, you already know, like bold, letters, like as clear as day. And that happens a lot. I've come to realize that he makes it very clear to me what I need to know. But in my brain, it's like, why would he make it so clear to me? Like, aren't I supposed to, like, isn't it supposed to take more time to know what he wants for me to do? It's like, and so I was trying to, like, dig deeper, like, are you sure? Like, what, trying to think deeper about it. It's like, no, like, you already know. I'm just like, all right, how do I already know? And then I was like, let me look for a second. I look at the packet, where the pamphlet, of the 21 days of prayer plan pamphlet, excuse me. Then it said, write down things you want to pray about and you want to change in these days in your life. And I wrote down, like, change myself, or make changes in my life through this path with the Lord, and, like, find out what he wants from me through my hopes and my dreams, heal relationships. I'm just like, I thought that wasn't enough, really, but then when I thought about it, I was like, that is just enough. I know exactly what I need by that, so he does too. So it was like, it dawned on me there, like, I do know. And then other things, like whoever I need to pray about for whatever reason, like, that pops in my brain too. So it's like, it makes sense now, but really I just get in my head too much. Like, it's like I feel undeserving of clarity, right? Like, I do have problems with insecurity, and it seems as though it's come between me and the Lord.
Well, so when you wrote down your summary of why you were there, you put in big bold letters, I'm here to heal. So when you wrote that down, and as you think about that now, I mean, there might be some things you don't want to talk about, but you know what it means. But what are some other things that you are looking to the Lord for healing?
One thing I'm comfortable with sharing at this point in time is, I am very, like, I'm an emotional guy. I can hide it. I can, deal with it. I can, try to control it, but sometimes it just makes me struggle internally. And so I get very frustrated easily, not really towards people so much, to, like, the dogs, right? To my dad, and, I love him more than anything. I would never harm them. I would never say anything, or I would never say anything that I don't mean it, and mean it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not usually that kind of guy. So it messes with me, because then I get frustrated myself. Like, I shouldn't be this quick to, be frustrated and get angry of something. Cause I'm not, like, I've kind of had to face it that I do got a lot of, like, anger. I'm not an inherently angry guy. I'm very laid back and very gentle, understanding, but, like, man, I'm struggling.
Well, one of the things that you said in the last few days is, you've had this dream, and you kind of threw it out there that, you're involved in wrestling, in WWE type wrestling. And this has been your dream. So you're in it, you're doing it, you're pursuing it. And here you are, this gentle guy doing this kind of aggressive thing with all these stunts. And you're with a bunch of people that are kind of alpha males. And you talked about how some of those people don't take you seriously, and that bothers you. Talk about that for a minute.
The fear of sounding, like, I don't want to sound like anybody owes me anything, or I don't want to sound entitled, because I don't, I'm not owed anything. I'm not owed anything. So it's hard to talk about, but the truth is, right, number one, I am the smaller guy. It's took me a while to get to $150. I finished training at 130. I thought I'd pack on. Really, I just tightened up. That's cool and all, but I want to look the part too, I'm not going to get where I want to be like that, or like this even. And even if I feel like my body of work so far in the year and a half that I've been, wrestling in front of crowds, can speak for itself in that, it's good and all, but at the same time, not only do I still have a lot of things to work on, people still don't really take me seriously. And I also just backstage, and it's really tough because we have camaraderie, we have a good community of guys and gals, but I don't really have much of a bond with any of them. Only a few, and a lot of them have my back, but I get that I am not a easy guy to read. You know what I mean? I'm kind of a complex character, and most people, just first impression or not, they're gonna write you off however they feel in their perspective, right? And then that's what box you fit in their mind. And unfortunately, almost even all my life it's been like that, so it doesn't really surprise me. So it really frustrates me that it's like that in a place that I want to feel comfortable in, a place that I am so very passionate in being in, because this is what I've been waiting for my entire life, is to share my passion and my love for this art, for this pure performance theater that there's nothing like that many people love, but most people don't understand. And so it really bothers me, because though a lot of them will listen to my ideas and we'll bounce off each other, a lot of them just don't really give me the time of day, don't really want to humor me whether it comes to just talking, trying to bond, or if it comes to having a constructive idea about what's going on. I've been disrespected a lot, and I'm not saying that lightly. I'm not being exaggerate. I'm not exaggerating about any of this. If it wasn't a deal that was happening, it wouldn't be bothering me like this, and a lot of people do notice it. People do see it, and if they see it, then it is happening. But people will, watch this. Some of the people around me in that circle might watch this and think that I'm just being a pussy, but really, I'm just sharing my story, and I want to inspire people that are like me in the situation where not everyone can understand them, not everyone can read them, and they have a tough time in the business, with their size, with their look. I wear ripped up jeans. I have a grunge style. It's a part of the character. It works. But really, you're not going to look at that guy and be like, oh, he's a professional wrestler. And a lot of people look down on that too. So I want to inspire people like me.
Okay. You also mentioned that last night you're in a men's group, and something came up that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So on Wednesdays, there's men's groups at the church at Cedar Valley, and it's helped a lot. Sharing perspective from, you know, all ages. I mean, there's men in their 80s there, but you won't even be able to tell, especially with their mindset and how they move around. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I was like that when I'm 80. And the perspectives they share and how they listen, it's like, wow, I don't have anything to worry about. Well, when we start off with a prayer, whatever we want to pray about, you know, whatever we feel compelled to pray about. And one of those things that I felt compelled to pray about, because my dad was there, was his smoking addiction. And I know that made him feel uncomfortable, but, you know, he's been suggested to quit a lot, especially after his heart attack last year. He could very well die. He has a lung condition. I forget what it's called, but it's got a life expectancy of like 4 or 5 years, and he's already 3 years into that, 3 or 4 years into that. So it's like, I'm very afraid of him dying soon, because that could happen. Nobody even knows that. So, you know, a lot of what we talked about was, let's see if I can find it. It was, we're in Romans. We're reading the Bible. It was in Romans, right? Romans chapter 2, 1 through 6. Talking about don't judge, you know, harshly. Don't condemn. Don't judge faith. Only judge by, you know, moral character. And even then, just try to lead them down the right path. And I feel like it was really needed for him, and I never really seen him listen so intently. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to talk about, but they're just trying to get through to him, like I would, but for the first time he was actually open to it. You know what I mean? We all talked about our struggles with addiction, and how, you know, God has saved them, and how he could be saved through it, because we can't do this without him. You know, I'm not good with Bible verses. I'll write them down. There's also another one that I found, you know, when I opened the Bible and turned the page on day 2 of prayer. It was Isaiah 28, like 18 through 29, just about, you know, you can't do no good things can happen without the hand of God. And I feel that is true. Nothing good has happened on my own accord. I know that for a fact.